Imagine a peaceful college town where the biggest concern should be final exams and weekend plans. That's exactly what Moscow, Idaho was until November 13th, 2022. In the early morning hours, while most of the town slept, 4 promising young lives were cut short in one of the most shocking crimes in recent American history. The victims, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, were all University of Idaho students looking forward to their futures. 20-year-old Ethan was a triplet, known for his warm smile and athletic ability. Xana, 20, was described by friends as hardworking and positive, balancing her marketing major with a part-time job. Madison, 21, was preparing for her upcoming marketing internship, while Kaylee, 21, had already lined up a job in Austin, Texas after graduation. Their lives were full of promise, plans, and the everyday joys of college life. To understand the full scope of this tragedy, we need to go back to the beginning, not just to the night of the murders, but to the weeks and months that preceded them. Moscow, Idaho, population 25,000, sits in the rolling Palouse Hills, home to the University of Idaho since 1889. It's a place where farmers wave to strangers, where downtown shops close early, and where serious crime was so rare that the last murder occurred 7 years ago. The house at 1122 King Road stood 3 stories tall, its windows overlooking the campus where all 4 victims attended classes. The 6-bedroom rental was typical of student housing in the area, perhaps a bit worn around the edges, but full of life and energy. Madison Mogen and Kaylee Goncalves, best friends since 6th grade, shared the 3rd floor with 2 other roommates. Their friendship had grown stronger through high school and college, with social media posts showing their inseparable bond. Xana Kernodle lived on the 2nd floor, where her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, frequently stayed over. The 1st floor was home to 2 other roommates who would become crucial witnesses to the aftermath of that fatal night. The events of November 12th started like any other Saturday in a college town. The weather was cooling, and students were preparing for the approaching Thanksgiving break. Ethan and Xana spent their evening at the Sigma Chi fraternity house, where Ethan was a member. Photos from that night show them dancing, laughing, enjoying what no one knew would be their final hours. Meanwhile, Madison and Kaylee chose to visit the Corner Club, a popular downtown bar where security cameras captured them chatting with friends throughout the evening. At 1:40 a.m., security footage from Grub Truck, a local food vendor, showed Madison and Kaylee ordering late-night carbonara pasta. They were accompanied by a private party driver, a service commonly used by students for safe late-night transportation. The footage shows them laughing, making conversation with others, displaying no signs of concern or awareness that they were being watched. The next crucial hours would later become the focus of an intense investigation. Between 2:26 and 2:52 a.m., Kaylee made 7 calls to her ex-boyfriend, Jack DeCour. This wasn't unusual. Friends would later testify that Kaylee and Jack remained close despite their breakup. Madison was also active on her phone during these hours. The house's other residents were returning home around this time, creating the normal late-night activity typical of a college residence. The morning of November 13th began quietly. One roommate thought she heard crying from Xana's room around 4 a.m. and later reported seeing a figure in dark clothing walking past her door. But it wasn't until almost noon that the horrifying discovery was made. The 911 call placed at 11:58 a.m. initially reported an unconscious person. The responding officers found a scene that would shake even the most experienced investigators. The investigation that followed would become unprecedented in scope for Idaho law enforcement. More than 60 officers from multiple agencies, including the FBI, converged on Moscow. They conducted over 300 interviews and processed nearly 20,000 tips. The murder weapon, believed to be a K-bar-style combat knife, has never been found. Every security camera within miles was analyzed, every cell phone ping documented, every potential witness interviewed. The community's response reflected the magnitude of the tragedy. Within days, more than half of the University of Idaho's 11,000 students had left campus, returning to their families. Local gun stores reported selling out of pepper spray and personal defense items. Residents who had never locked their doors began installing security systems and deadbolts. Parents drove hundreds of miles to escort their children home. The Moscow farmers market, usually bustling with activity, became eerily quiet. Local businesses saw their customers disappear as fear kept people indoors. The breakthrough in the case came through a combination of modern technology and traditional police work. Surveillance cameras across the region had captured a white Hyundai Elantra circling the King Road neighborhood multiple times in the hours before the murders. Cell phone data revealed a device traveling from Pullman, Washington to Moscow during crucial hours. More importantly, DNA evidence found on a knife sheath left at the crime scene would provide investigators with their strongest lead. On December 30th, 2022, in a pre-dawn raid that caught the nation's attention, police arrested Bryan Kohberger at his family's home in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. The 28-year-old suspect seemed an unlikely killer, a criminology PhD student at Washington State University, located just 8 miles from the crime scene. His academic focus on criminal behavior and forensic psychology added a layer of chilling irony to the case. The evidence against Kohberger proved substantial and methodically gathered. Cell phone records revealed his device had been near the King Road house at least 12 times before the murders. Surveillance footage shows his Elantra in the area repeatedly. DNA evidence found at the scene matched samples taken from Kohberger's family's trash in Pennsylvania. His graduate studies in criminal justice gave him knowledge of forensic methods and investigative techniques, knowledge that prosecutors argue he tried to use to avoid detection. Yet, crucial questions remain unanswered. Despite the mountain of physical evidence, investigators have yet to establish a clear motive. No direct connection has been found between Kohberger and any of the victims. Some speculate that his criminology studies played a role in victim selection, while others wonder if social media stalking led him to target these specific students. The randomness of victim selection adds another layer of horror to an already terrifying case. The prosecutor's case revealed disturbing patterns of behavior leading up to the murders. In the weeks before the attacks, security footage from multiple cameras showed the white Elantra driving through the neighborhood at unusual hours. Digital forensics revealed searches related to the victim's social media profiles, suggesting a period of surveillance before the crimes. Investigators also discovered that Kohberger's phone had been turned off during crucial periods, a detail that prosecutors argue shows premeditation and awareness of police techniques. Further investigation uncovered that Kohberger's graduate research included a study on criminal decision-making. He had even posted a survey on Reddit asking former criminals about their thoughts and emotions during their crimes. These academic pursuits, which once seemed innocent, took on a more sinister meaning in light of the allegations against him. The impact on the academic community extended far beyond Moscow. Universities across the country began reviewing their security protocols. Criminology departments faced uncomfortable questions about studying criminal behavior and the rare but unsettling possibility of research becoming a blueprint for violence. Graduate programs implemented additional screening procedures for students working with sensitive materials. The ripple effects touched every aspect of college life in Moscow. Local landlords reported students breaking leases to move closer to campus or into more secure buildings. The university implemented new security measures, including enhanced lighting, additional emergency phones, and expanded late-night transportation services. But perhaps, most significantly, the sense of community trust was fundamentally altered. Local business owner Sarah Martinez, who had lived in Moscow for over 30 years, expressed what many felt. "We used to joke that the biggest crime here was someone forgetting to return their library books. Now we all look over our shoulders. We've lost something precious, that small-town sense of safety." The case also sparked broader discussions about security in college towns nationwide. Parents began asking tougher questions during campus tours. University administrators faced increasing pressure to balance academic openness with student safety. The idea of the safe, isolated college town, a cornerstone of American higher education, faced new scrutiny. As the legal proceedings continue, new details emerge regularly, each adding another layer to this complex case. Defense attorneys have challenged the DNA evidence, questioning the collection methods and chain of custody. They also raised concerns about pretrial publicity affecting jury selection. Meanwhile, prosecutors continue to build their case, recently revealing additional surveillance footage and cell phone data that they claim further ties Kohberger to the scene. The families of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee have shown remarkable strength throughout the proceedings. They've established scholarships in their children's names, ensuring that their legacies will continue through opportunities for future students. The Goncalves family started a safety awareness campaign for college students. The Kernodles began working with campus security experts to develop better protection protocols for off-campus housing. At a recent memorial service, Kaylee's father, Steve Goncalves, spoke words that resonated across the community. These kids weren't just victims of a horrible crime. They were bright lights in our world, and while their lights may have been extinguished, the impact they had on all of us will shine forever. As Moscow continues to heal, the case serves as a sobering reminder that safety can never be taken for granted. The Idaho 4 tragedy has become more than a true crime story. It's a watershed moment that changed how we think about security, community, and the vulnerability of the places we consider safe. The next time someone says, "It could never happen to me," remember Moscow, Idaho. Remember that line between ordinary and extraordinary, between safety and danger, can be thinner than we imagine. And remember 4 young lives, Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee, whose stories ended far too soon, leaving behind a community forever changed and a nation questioning the safety of places we once thought immune to such violence.